The Jimmy H11 Pro has become a brutally powerful machine, and maybe that's the only good thing I can say about it. This is going to be an honest review. Hi everyone, I have to say, I'm truly a big Jimmy fan. I really love their machines. We have several of them in the family. Actually, we use 3 different Jimmy models at home, so I genuinely do like these machines because they're just such great pieces of equipment. Now the strongest member of the new series has arrived, the H11 Pro, which is brutally powerful. It can already replace a normal traditional vacuum cleaner. It even sucks up the carpet. So we could say it's perfect, but unfortunately it's not, and in this video I'm going to tell you why, but of course I'll also mention the things that might make it worth buying, so let's dive in. I don't really want to talk much about the accessories, because these accessories haven't really changed lately, except for a few things which I'll report on separately. Just to mention it, it's definitely important to say that these are very high quality accessories. For example, the extension tube is bendable, so it can be easily pushed under furniture. It comes with a flexible hose for car vacuuming, an upholstery head, which is like a mite vacuum head, and there are various brush heads. So there's no problem with these, there never has been, because they're absolutely high quality and very easy to use. What has changed in this machine compared to its predecessors? Well, there are a few things I really complained about with the predecessors. One was the vacuum head, the motorized floor head, because it hadn't changed for a long time. And because of that, for example, they didn't have LEDs. And nowadays, even on cheap vacuum cleaners, the floor heads usually have LEDs that light up the floor, but Jimmy missed out on this. On the new floor head, which I'll show you later, there is an LED. This is definitely a very good thing. Besides that, the Crevice Tool has changed. It's become this huge thing, and the machine itself has changed the tank because we got such a crazy big tank on it. At first glance, these are definitely very positive changes, as tank capacity is a crucial issue for such a machine. The floor brush is a crucial issue, so it's great that they changed and improved them, but unfortunately they didn't turn out well. They're actually worse than the previous ones, and now I'm going to tell you why. I'll start with the simplest thing, which is the Crevice Tool. This Crevice Tool is actually a really interesting and unique piece, because at first glance it looks just like a simple plastic or metal tube. But it's not, because you can actually bend it. And the fact that it can be bent is actually a really great thing, as is the fact that there's an LED on the end now, and this LED shines in the dark, illuminating dark corners, so you can see the dirt in places where light wouldn't otherwise reach. So that's pretty cool. I have 2 problems with this Crevice Tool. One is that it's become brutally large. I usually use the Crevice Tool for things like vacuuming dirt out of sofa crevices, or maybe from the corners of shelves, but this head has become quite massive and it's simply not comfortable to use. Besides that, my other problem with it is that they forgot to make a place on the docking station where you can put this head. Because the dock has become brutally large like this. You have to hang the vacuum on the upper part and the accessories go here. However, there's no place for this head because it definitely needs to be put somewhere where it can be snapped in, like down here, for example. But unfortunately, only one such snap-in spot was included on this dock, and well, there's simply no room for it. So you'll just keep it somewhere next to the vacuum, on the floor or in the closet or wherever you want. It's a silly little mistake, to put it mildly. Let's proceed forward. And now let's take a moment to talk a little bit more in detail about the floor brush. So the thing is, at first glance, this turned out to be a pretty good piece because it's big. It's quite sizable with a rather large brush inside that can be very easily and quickly removed without the need for any tools, simply taken out and replaced, because we also get another brush with it. This brush is for carpets and this brush is for hard floors. So this is definitely a premium solution, as they include these brushes at the base price. So we definitely have to appreciate that. Jimmy gets a big 5 stars for it. But then what's my problem? I have 2 serious problems with this head. One problem I have is that the LED in front is white, which shines great in the dark. It's spectacular, like a car headlight. I can see everything in the room, but it's pointless. Because the point of this LED strip should be to illuminate the floor with grazing light, making dirt and dust clearly visible. White light is completely unsuitable for this. They could have used blue, or even better, green. It would have been much better. White isn't that great. My other very big problem with this head, which is an even bigger issue, is that if you look inside here, you can see there's a shaft like this. This shaft is what rotates the brush. Now, it was during the test that I realized that when I vacuum a carpet and there's hair or fur on the carpet, because we have a pet tool, the head sucks it up. No problem there. The bigger issue is that even during a relatively short test, such an amount of fur managed to get wound around this brush axle that I could hardly get it off. You can't reach it at all, so I had to use a small pair of scissors in here to snip and cut the fur strands to peel them off this axle. I don't get it, so it's like I have this feeling about this head as if they hadn't used it, hadn't tested it before production. I don't know who designed it, but in any case, it didn't turn out well. And then I have another problem with it, which I forgot, and this is very, very important too, namely that the distance from the bottom of the head to the floor is incredibly small, which means that larger debris simply doesn't fit under the head. I used to do vacuum tests by vacuuming flour, rice, and soup pearls, and those were the test subjects to see how well the vacuum could suck them up. Lately, I've encountered more and more machines where soup pearls didn't fit under the head, so I switched, and now I vacuum cat food instead. Those consist of smaller grains. Usually there's no problem with that, except for the Jimmy H11 Pro, because even cat food doesn't fit under the H11 Pro's new head. So if there's slightly larger debris on the floor, it doesn't suck it up anymore. You just push it along the floor in front of the vacuum head. And now let's move on to the third part, namely the tank and the filter system. You can see that this machine really got a huge dust tank, which is great. However, the very big problem with this dust tank is that not only did the tank size increase, but the size of the filter inside also increased, and thus the space around it didn't get any larger than in its predecessors. In fact, it might have gotten smaller. Otherwise, the construction of this filter system is exactly the same as it used to be. We have a steel filter, and inside the steel filter, there's an inner insert that swirls the air and essentially separates the larger debris from the smaller ones. The larger ones stay out in the tank. The smaller ones do pass through. But since we have a HEPA filter in here, the HEPA filter catches the very small dust particles, and the dirt doesn't get into the machine, the motor, or back into the air. And this actually works reasonably well, although I must say I've seen better functioning filter systems. This one isn't 100% perfect either, even though I wouldn't dare call it bad. What's my problem with this machine? My problem with this machine is that its price right now is about 150,000 forints. On the other hand, if I buy a machine from an up-and-coming manufacturer, I won't mention names now, I can usually get those for around 40, 50 or 60,000 forints. Those machines don't have such strong suction, and they don't come with so many great accessories. Usually they have one large combined floor brush. The machine itself, some kind of suction tube that either bends in the middle or doesn't, and that's pretty much it. The problem is that I don't see the benefit of this threefold price difference, because while the accessories are really good and the vacuum's suction power is brutal, this machine is definitely not worth 3 times as much as a machine from a new up-and-coming manufacturer. And let's not even talk about how, for some reason, Jimmy still hasn't managed to make it so that when I put the machine on the dock actually charges the vacuum. I shouldn't have to bend down every single time for the cable that's lying somewhere on the floor next to the dock. And I shouldn't have to manually plug this cable into this opening here to start charging, because it's incredibly tedious. I don't know if anyone at Jimmy has told the engineers yet, but man, we should really be past this by now. It's great that you've come this far and caught up with the competition by adding a LED to the head, but you messed up the head and the dock still doesn't charge the vacuum, and I just don't understand why you do this, because as I said, I really like Jimmy's machines, but the last truly good machine I had was maybe 2 years ago, the H10 Flex, and since then I feel like this company is on a downward slope for some reason. I don't know why, and don't even ask. The question, of course, is whether it's worth buying this machine or not. I can only recommend buying it in one specific case, and that's if you have a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, people with allergies, or maybe several pets, and it's absolutely vital that the daily cleaning is as thorough as possible, because the suction power of this machine is top-notch. I haven't found anything better lately, so If having very high suction power is what's important to you, then you should buy this machine because such suction power is only found in much more expensive Dysons, for example. I'm not sure I'd buy those for the price they're asking, so as a Dyson alternative, this machine works. But if you don't need all these accessories or this brutal suction power, and you're okay with slightly less suction and fewer motorized heads and tubes, then don't buy this machine. Get something that costs a third of the price. I'm sorry that... So this is how the video turned out. I'm sorry I had to say these things. I hope that if someone from the manufacturer watches this video, they'll try to take it as constructive criticism and they'll try to get these machines back on the right track, which they strayed from somewhere around the H10 Flex. Well, that's all for now. I hope you liked this video too. If so, then check out one of the other two videos appearing next to me. In the video description, of course, you'll find a link to the vacuum cleaner. I can probably give you a coupon code too, so you can buy it cheaper. And you'll also find the link to my written article there. Read that too if you're interested in the machine. And once again, we're not talking about a bad machine. We're talking about brutal suction power. But there are these problems that drive me crazy, and I can't just let them pass without a word. Okay, be good. I'll be back next week with another video. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.